And welcome back to Southeast Sports Plus here. We are going to take a bit of a sports and political turn here on our program. Great to be joined by Peter Albrecht, the news anchor right here at WKRG. First of all, news has kind of broken over the last few hours that Paul Finebaum, the host of the SEC Network, he's got his own radio show, has been in Alabama for a long time, is thinking about running for the United States Senate in the seat that's now vacated because Tommy Tuberville is running for governor of the state of Alabama. Number one, how did this land for you, and what do you make of these political figures going in, or sports figures going into politics?
Yeah, kind of out of left field, I thought. And he said on this podcast that he was kind of inspired by the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It got him to thinking and contemplating a lot of stuff. He's always been a Republican and a conservative guy, so he says now he's thinking about it. He's got to make a decision pretty quickly.
Yeah.
January is qualifying, and the primary, which in the state of Alabama is the election, de facto, takes place in May. So it's not a lot of time. If he's going to do it, he needs to do it quickly.
Absolutely. We talked about Tommy Tuberville and his run to that Senate seat, and then now he's going to take over as the governor. What do you think from a political standpoint will Paul Finebaum's next move have to be? Because obviously he has a very high-profile job. He can't do these two things at once, try to run for that seat and his job right there at the SEC Network.
Yeah, it's a curious deal, and even if he waits till football season is over again, that's kind of pushing it. Tuberville got in. I think maybe that's opened the eyes of a lot of different sports figures. Bruce Pearl thought about it very seriously.
Yeah.
From what we're led to believe, he said he decided against it. So I think, Tuberville getting in kind of opened up that concept. And then, of course, the Trump administration is full of media people. And so, I'm not sure if Finebaum has a relationship with the president, because whoever the president endorses is going to win that race, no matter the money or what else. But there's a couple other strong candidates in the race. Steve Marshall, the attorney general for 8 years in the state. And also Barry Moore, who's a congressman who now represents part of our area here in Mobile, Baldwin County, on over to the Wiregrass. He's been in Congress for about 6 years, but he's a very conservative guy. He's in the Freedom Caucus in the U.S. House. So if you're looking for a super conservative, he would be that person. And in a primary, that's who's voting. In a Republican primary, typically are very conservative voters.
Absolutely. Paul Finebaum made mention of this on Outkick the Coverage on Trey Clavis, or Travis, what's his name? Clay Travis from Outkick the Coverage. He was on his show. He was very vague, Pete, about who basically talked him into this, or maybe said, hey, put a bug in his ear. Who do you think it might have been that said? He said somebody that's kind of high up in Alabama government, and is somebody that you think that maybe that is aligned with the Trump administration that told him, hey, think about this.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, his name recognition would be off the charts. People might know, even people who are in Republican circles probably know Steve Marshall, but they probably don't have strong feelings one way or the other about him. Barry Moore, he is in Congress, but if you don't live in his congressional district, if you live in one of the other 5 in Alabama that he hasn't represented, you might not really know much about him. So there's a name recognition is worth a lot. But even with the name recognition, if Trump stays out of an endorsement, you need a lot of money to run a U.S. Senate race.
What is that from a political standpoint? How much money will need to be raised in order to win these kind of things?
They say in an open seat, to win an open seat, typically what's been raised and spent is $32 million.
Wow.
Now, you think about that nationwide, a lot of that might be in districts where you not only have to run in a primary, then you have to run in a general election against the other party. Here in Alabama, really not so much. If you win next May, if you're a Republican, barring just some sort of scandal like we saw with Judge Roy Moore back in the 2017 election with Doug Jones, the Republicans going to win that. So let's cut that in half. That's $16 million. And can you raise $16 million between now and May? I don't know if you can.
It is going to be really, really hard. Political figures or sports figures stepping into politics is not anything new. Tom Osborne, the great coach there at Nebraska, did it. Bill Bradley has done it as well.
Jack Kemp back from the AFL football days. So.
From a guy from your perspective, and you've been in sports and you've been in news for a long time, this Venn diagram of sports figures going into politics, why does it seem to work as well as it does? And do you see this kind of in that same vein?
I think they're celebrities first and foremost, and we're a celebrity-obsessed culture in this country, no doubt about it. I think people, who are around athletics are competitive. They want to win,
Right,
if they've been
right.
coaches or players, and they see that as another arena maybe maybe to get into. I don't know.
Yeah.
One question I'd ask about Paul Finebaum, and you might know more than I would or have some thoughts about it, is he's very well known, but is he very well liked? Those are two different things.
That's
and you
true.
might listen to Finebaum, might be very popular, but that doesn't necessarily mean you like him
Right.
if you listen to him every day. I don't know.
That's exactly right. That's a really good point, though, too, because he's been such a polarizing figure on the radio.
Right.
I wonder if that will continue to the ballot box if he still has this split vote there.
Well, right. Well, part of the personality, you get people to listen to you on the radio is to
Right.
kind of go on the edge and aggravate people and that kind of thing. So, again, yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out.
For those that don't necessarily keep up with politics day to day, what would his role be as far as being able to fill that Senate seat in a way that is actually reflective of what that job is? For example, for Tommy Tuberville, I think if you ask your random people on the street, what all has he done? I don't know if many people would know, day to day or kind of job to job what he's been able to do. What are some of the nuts and bolts things that he'll have to do if he does get that
Well,
seat?
it just seems like in the last couple of years, it's follow the leader, right?
Yeah.
Follow the trail left by President Trump. That Tommy Tuberville certainly has been faithful to that, and I'm assuming that anybody who wants to run and win would need to follow that path as well.
Absolutely. Certainly an eyebrow-raising headline there as SEC Network host Paul Finebaum considering, still not official, considering a run for United States Senate seat held by former Auburn head coach Tommy Tuberville. Pete, thank you so much for your insight.
You're welcome.
Join us, keep it right here on Southeast Sports Plus. We'll talk a little bit more Alabama's big win over Georgia, as well as the Ryder Cup. United States this close to coming up with a big win. Stay with us.